Okay. So we plan to take Azure Managed Instance Auto Failover Groups, but it didn't happen because I was not able to start my managed instances. So I created one today and I need to create one more. I didn't do it purposefully because I wanted to show you, someone was asking me about the deployment of MI. So I thought of showing up that as well along with this. That's the only reason. So let me start the creation and we'll discuss about that. Okay. So if I go to my portal and currently I have, this session is very important, guys, because you will come to know various things that you as a DBA should be aware of when deploying the managed instance auto failover groups. It looks very simple if you watch out any video or any blog, but in reality, there are few things that you have to remember. So that key points I will stress a lot so that it will be easy for you when you are carrying that out on your real-time environments. So I have only one MI. So let me minimize this a bit. Okay, I do have only one MI currently. So I'm going to create one more MI. So why I'm doing auto failure groups? What is the purpose of auto failure groups? That's the first thing that I need to discuss. Auto failure groups is nothing but for managed instance, we don't have DR. So to achieve DR, I'm going to go with auto failure groups. For Azure SQL, we have two options, geo-replication and auto failure groups. But for managed instance, we have only one option, only auto failure groups. So what is the difference between geo-replication and auto failure groups? So if you ask me that question, I think it's somewhere here. I think some points are there. If you watch my previous videos also, I did cover that part, geo-replication versus auto failure groups, but I carried that out on Azure SQL, not on MI. But today's session is on MI. So coming to geo-replication can be done in the single region. I mean, single VNet, single region, single. So it is possible within one region. But for Azure auto failure groups or Azure MI failure groups, when I say failure groups, just consider it as failure groups instead of saying Azure SQL and Azure MI. So for failure groups, we need different regions. That is the first point. And for failure groups, all the databases needs to be included as part of auto failure groups. You can't do it at individual database. I mean, at the database level, it is not possible. If you wanted to achieve something at database level, it is only possible with geo-replication. So geo-replication is applicable only for Azure SQL. So I would like to carry out few important points so that it will be handy. Let me open that uh, differences first. Geo-replication versus auto failure groups. So this is the difference. Geo-replication, if you see, fail over multiple databases simultaneously, no. We can do it at individual database level. So that is what I'm talking about. Fail over at individual database level. But for auto failure groups, you will fail over all the databases. Means if I have 5 databases and I wanted to include 3 databases to be part of auto failure groups, is that possible? No. Okay. So auto failure groups, if I go with auto failure groups, it means that I have to have all my databases to be part of auto failure groups. That is the point what they are talking about. And when it comes to automatic failover, yes, we have automatic failover. In case of auto failure groups, it is possible. And I don't need to update my connection string after the failover. You will see both of them today. And this is the statement what I was talking about. Manage instance support. So manage instance doesn't support geo-replication. Manage instance doesn't support geo-replication, whereas Azure SQL do support geo-replication and as well as auto failure groups. Both are possible. As I said, this is one more thing. So I wanted to configure geo-replication in only one region. For example, in North Europe, if I wanted to configure geo-replication, it is possible. But if you wanted to configure auto failure groups in only one region, no, it's not possible. So here I can have multiple replicas. Here I cannot have multiple replicas. Only one replica. That's it. So read scale is possible in both geo-replication and auto failure groups. Any questions with this image? This image is super duper important. This image should be there in our minds if you are appearing for interviews, especially about HA and DR. when it comes to Azure SQL or Azure MI. Uh, okay, so I'll take as no questions. So now I'm going to create one more one more MI instance. Why I'm doing this? Because I wanted to create auto failover groups between this instance and that instance. Okay, so I'm clicking on create. So this is how we create MI. In real time, it depends upon your environments. If you have what is that Terraform templates, so they will deploy it via Terraform. And if you have access to your Azure portal, you will create this, or maybe your infra team will do this. So it depends upon the company. So I cannot comment on this, but I just wanted to show how it looks if you are creating managed instance. And there is very, very important point that you need to keep in your minds. So that is the reason I didn't create my secondary MI, because I just wanted to show that up. Everything will fall under this resource group, failover group demo. So that is the resource group. So I created one managed instance with the name FG primary MI. So I'm creating one more. That is nothing but failover group secondary MI. So see, it is saying some errors because you cannot have uppercase letter when you are creating the managed instance. So it should be always lowercase letters, FG secondary managed instance. So for managed instance, it has to be lowercase letters in case if you are not worked on MI. And I have to choose different region. As I said, auto failure groups is possible only across different regions. So this is what I'm saying. Can be in the same region as primary. Auto failure groups, no. It cannot be in the same region as primary. It should be in different region. So that is the reason I am creating my MI on West Europe side instead of North Europe. Usually all my resources are in North Europe, but this time I am choosing West Europe. And I don't need 8 cores. And I will talk about this now in a second. Can you see this general purpose, business critical? What is the main difference between general purpose and business critical? Anyone knows?
Temporary B will
Well,
be
it's like a clustering on
Yeah, general
FCI.
purpose is like FCI. Business critical is always on. And for your information, when you choose business critical, you will get always on by default. Don't forget that point. That's the only point that you have to remember. Business critical. If you choose business critical, you will get always on by default. You are not doing that. Microsoft will carry out that behind the scenes for you. So we have HA automatically for business critical. We don't have DR. For DR on MI, what is the only option what we have? Auto failure groups. Okay, so I'm choosing general purpose. I don't need 8 cores. I just am good enough with 4 cores. So if you see here, 1 core is equivalent to 5 GB of RAM. Here, can you see this? So it is 5.1 GB of RAM. There are 3 hardware generations: Generation 5, Premium Series, and Premium Series memory optimized. So if I choose Generation 5, 1 Vcore is equivalent to 4 GB of, 5 GB of RAM, 5.1. So they're just rounding it up to 20 GB. 4 5s are 20. Okay, but if I choose premium series, then we got an option. There is something called as memory slider. Okay, so I don't need to increase. If I wanted to increase this, it is possible. So let me show you that part. Premium series. Okay, 4 7s are 28. That is fine. But I think we can move the slider. For that, I have to choose one option. Let me see where is that option. Memory in GB slider is only supported for next generation general purpose service tier. Okay, if I enable this option, can you see this option? This is a new feature. It was not there before. So they added this. For example, if I click on enable, okay, and if I choose only premium series, because if I choose generation 5, it's not applicable. This type of computer hardware is used by the MI that is currently on our region, blah, blah, blah. So if you choose this or this, it is not applicable. But if I choose premium series, then it is applicable. Can you see the slide? Usually for 8 cores, you will get 56 GB of RAM. But if I wanted to increase the RAM to 64 GB, I can do this. It's possible now without increasing the cores. I repeat my statement, without increasing the cores, it is possible to increase the RAM on MI if I choose this feature. If I enable this feature, next generation general purpose, then it is possible. It was not there. They recently introduced this. So I got a question in my group about this topic, I believe. So they were asking if there is any possibility to increase the RAM without increasing the vCores on MI. Yes, it is possible if you are on premium series. Let me check this one also. I don't think, let me see. So if I go with the 4 cores, 13.6, so I got 54 GB. So if I want, no, I cannot increase this. So it is only possible with premium series. For the moment, I cannot go with premium and premium series memory optimized. I can go with only generation 5, and I don't want to go with next generation general purpose preview. So in case if your business needs more RAM for your applications, then on MI, it is possible if I choose premium series hardware generation, and I can increase the RAM without increasing the cores because cores are fixed. If I choose 4 cores, I will get 20 GB RAM. If I choose 8 cores, I will get 40 GB RAM. So it is 5.1 times of core. The RAM size is 5.1 times of core. But this is not the case with premium series. If I enable this option, only if I enable this option, then I can have extra RAM without increasing the cores. That is the whole purpose. So I don't need 8 GB. So even here, if you see the bill, it is 811 euros. Okay, so for 4 cores, I'm getting 20 GB of RAM. I don't need 256 GB of storage. I'm just going with 32 GB. And I wanted this Azure hybrid benefit option because I'm going to delete this after this class session. So I'm just clicking on this. So if you have licenses from your environment, from your on-prem, if you choose this option, so see the price difference. So it was something like 700 something. So if I click on this, it came down to 488. See this, 780. So if I choose Azure hybrid benefit, I'm getting 488. So that is the price difference or price variation between pay as you go and Azure hybrid benefit. I will talk about this later. So this I think we did discuss in our previous session. I don't want to repeat this again. Any questions with this screen? The only important thing with this screen is there is a new functionality called as next generation general purpose preview, which will help us to increase the RAM without increasing the cores. And that is possible only with premium series. That is the whole purpose of the screen. Important point, which I have not covered. Okay, I'm clicking on apply. And now I have to choose SQL authentication. I don't have Entra authentication. So I'm choosing SQL authentication for the moment. So let me copy my password. Password should be of 16 characters. So when you are creating the password for MI, for SQL authentication, it should be of 16 characters. So we are done. So I'm clicking on networking. So I have to choose the network or subnet where I would like to deploy my MI. So as I said, this depends upon your company. So company will create VNet for you and you can choose that VNet at the time of deployment, or they will deploy it for you and you will just, they will provide you the credentials to connect your MI. So it depends from company to company. Since I am the sole admin, I have created a dedicated subnet for my MI and I'm choosing this subnet to the for the creation of MI. Okay, this is done. Public endpoint, I'm not enabling. We can enable it later also. Next, click on security. I don't need to, I'll just go to the previous window. I'm not concentrating on a public endpoint or connection type or TLS version because these topics were already covered. So that is the reason I'm not repeating that one more time. But if you have any questions, you can watch those previous videos and come back to me. So TDE is enabled by default on MI. So it is SMK, means Microsoft manages this key. So that is TDE with MI. And there is one more setting that is super important for us. If you miss this setting, you are gone. I'm repeating this. The next session, next tab or next window is very, 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 very important at the time of deploying the auto failure groups. If you miss this, you are gone. So I'm saying this again. I'm stressing this again. So please um, do concentrate here. So there is something called as, let me show you that functionality or the main points. Mm, Can you see this DNS zone? So I will talk about this DNS zone in few seconds, but let me explain the important point that I wanted to show you before I move up. So I think there is one blog that discussed about this. Is this one not here? I think this is the one. Let me check this again. Hmm. So I'll talk about this window. This is very important. So let me go to my creation. If I don't choose this option, geo-replication and use this as a failover secondary, because I'm going to create my secondary replica now, right? For my MI. If I don't choose this, okay, if I don't set this up, what happens if I don't do this? Let me take another window and I'll show you. Very important, guys. If you miss this point, it's of no use of creating the failover groups. So I'm stressing a lot. So just be mindful. I'll show my manage instance first. This is my manage instance, primary manage instance. I told you there is something called as DNS, right? Can you see this? 20 CF5 something something. So this is called as DNS suffix. So this DNS suffix will come only for manage instance. It won't come for Azure SQL. Please do remember that point. The only difference between the naming convention of Azure SQL and Azure MI is they both look one and the same with .database.windows.net. The only difference is this DNS suffix. This DNS suffix comes up only for manage instance and it won't come for Azure SQL. That is the first point. Second point, whenever you are creating whenever you are creating auto failover groups, you have to ensure that it has to match up with the primary MI DNS. So if I don't choose this option, okay, if I don't choose this option, what happens is that it will create a new MI, but it will create with a different DNS number, okay, with a different DNS zone. So I should say different DNS zone. So for the sake of clarity, I'm saying different number. Okay, if these numbers are not matching, between primary MI and secondary MI, then you cannot create auto failover groups. And the sad part is you cannot change the DNS suffix once it's created. Okay, very, 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 very important in case of auto failover groups. So what is that important point? Whenever you are creating the secondary MI for auto failure groups, you have to ensure the DNS zone is same or similar to that of primary. If you miss this point, then you cannot create you cannot create auto failure groups. Can you see this window? So he's trying to add secondary managed instance in the auto failure groups, but he is not able to do that because he has created a different DNS from that of primary. Can you see this? The most common issue is secondary managed instance DNS zone doesn't match with the DNS zone of primary MI. Vardhan, would like to ask any doubt or? Okay, maybe by mistake. So this is the important thing. So it won't allow you to create failure groups if you miss that point. Since we are doing it from portal, you are getting this option. So what if you are doing it from Terraform or maybe something else? So there is something called as DNS zone ID that you have to pass at the time of creation of MI, secondary MI. So since I don't have Terraform or script or PowerShell script to deploy that, I'm choosing and I'm doing it from primary. But the only important thing that you have to remember is if you don't create this DNS zone and if you create it with different DNS zone to that of primary, you cannot create failover groups. So that is the reason I'm stressing this again and again and again. So I have to choose this one. So then only I will get the same DNS number to that of primary, this number. Even for secondary, I will get the same number only if I choose this option from portal at the time of creation of secondary MI. Otherwise, you cannot create auto failover groups. Any questions with this specific thing? Okay. So since no questions, I'm moving on.
I have a question, Anna.
Yeah.
So for, while creating primary instance also, we need to select this option,
No, no.
or
For
while creating
primary,
second.
see, we don't have anything, right? When we don't have any MI, it's okay to create in, you don't need to worry about this part. So once we have one MI, and if you wanted to create one more MI, and if you wanted to add that MI to be part of auto failure groups, then this DNS zone should be similar to that of the one that is already existed. That is the only point. If you are creating MI for the first time, then you don't need to worry about this. For the second MI, and if you wanted to add that MI to auto failure groups, it should have same DNS zone to that of primary. So I missed this part because even I don't know about this. So I thought I can do it on the fly. But after creating the instance, I came to know. I will show you mine. So I created something like this. I'll show you where is that? Here. So I created something like this, MI demo 2 and MI2, MI new on Friday. So I didn't realize this. I thought I can create this right away. But to my surprise, I came to know that if the DNS zones are different, like what you are seeing on my screen, then you cannot create auto failure groups. The, the, the sad part is you cannot change the DNS once you created the MI. There is no technique or no solution that can help us to change the DNS zone. It's not possible. So that is the reason.
And
Yeah.
and also it is automatically detecting when you selected that option.
Yeah, when you choose that failover secondary, so it is asking for the counterpart. Counterpart is nothing but your primary managed instance. So you have to choose that primary managed instance at the time of deploying this secondary MI. If you don't choose that, you are gone. It's not possible. So if you are doing it from script or PowerShell, there is something called as managed instance. DNS zone ID. I think it will be somewhere here. Let me show you that. Control F, DNS zone, something is there. Let me show you that option. Or here, DNS zone partner. Yeah, this is the command. So if you wanted to create it with PowerShell or Terraform, something like that, so you have to pass the DNS zone partner to that of primary. So whatever the primary DNS zone, so that number should be, we should take that number and you have to pass that number as a parameter, something called as DNS zone partner if you're doing it from scripts. So if you're doing it from portal, this is the option what he's talking about. So you have to click on yes and you have to choose this option. Okay, if you miss this option, then there is no way to create auto failure groups between those two MIs and you have to recreate your entire MI. So that is why I'm stressing this point again and again. Is this clear now?
Oh, Vamsi, why dependency is there with the DNS zone or creating auto failure group? Any relation?
There is a relation so that when I show up the application, you will come to know. So I have the practical example today, so I'll show up that. But that is the important point. So let me clear this because it takes at least 5 to 10 minutes, right? So I don't think there is anything else. I hope I choose this option, right? Okay, yeah. Review and create. So it takes approximately 10 minutes or so for the creation. So it is 240 now. Probably by 250, it may get finished. Before it gets completed, there are a couple of things that you have to remember. And so that is the reason I said this class is very important because I'm talking about the things that DBS forget and later they will think what went wrong. So that is the reason. First point, I think that is clear, right? What is the first important point? DNS zone. DNS zone should be same for both the replicas. When I say replicas, it's nothing but out of I mean to say managed instances. DNS zone should be same for both the MIs. That is the first part. Second part. So when you are creating the auto failure groups, okay, when you are creating the auto failure groups, so sometimes it won't allow you to select your secondary managed instance. Like when you get different DNS zones, then you will see this window where it won't allow you to choose any managed instance. There are couple of reasons again. There are couple of points, two more points that you have to remember. What are those two more points? So I will show you that practically. I mean to say the important points. So where is that resource group or region? I would say region. Not here. Resource group. This resource. I think it is not here. I think it will be here. Just give me a second, guys. There are a couple of points that I wanted to discuss. Resource region. Um, There is one important point. I wanted to show you that part. Can you see this? The first managed instance created in the subnet determines the DNS zones for all the subsequent instances in the same subnet. This means two instances from the same subnet cannot belong to different DNS zones. Of course, if I talk like this, you will not be able to understand what I'm, you know, explaining. So that is the reason I'm just showing you practical stuff. Just one more point. Where is that point? Okay, there are a couple of important points. I will write it down. I read somewhere, but I am not able to figure out where is that. But that is again very, very important. Okay, so when you are carrying out the failover groups from GUI, okay, when you are carrying out the failover groups from GUI, okay, if your MI, if your primary managed instance and secondary managed instance are in different resource group, then it is not possible. Then it is not possible. I'm saying this. Then it is not possible to do it from GUI. Means you cannot set up auto failover groups if your MIs are sitting in different resource group from GUI. I'm saying it again. I'm not saying it is not practically possible. I'm saying it is not possible only from GUI. That is second point. Third point, again the same thing. If they are sitting in different, let me show you that point. I think I took somewhere, I read somewhere, but I am not able to get that to show up here. Should be somewhere here only. Here or here. Okay, I will type here. Otherwise, my auto failure groups between different resource groups. Different resource groups. Say, I need to search that for that exact keyword. Otherwise, I'm not able to get that point. Groups. Just give me a couple. Can you see somewhere about resource groups should be same? Shit, man. I should have kept that aside. Okay. Anyway, so that is very, very important point. If you are doing it from GUI and don't get surprised because if you are if your MI resources on different resource group, then it is not possible to set up auto failover groups from portal. And even if they are in different subscriptions also, okay, the same point again, different resource groups, or if they are in different subscriptions, then it won't allow you to carry you out from portal. From portal only, not from CUI. From portal only, it's not possible. This is one more important point that you have to remember. And the fourth point is you cannot create failover groups using public endpoints. These are the four important points that no one has stressed till now. You cannot create auto failover groups with public endpoints. What is public endpoint, by the way? Anyone knows what is the port number for public endpoint for MI? Yes,
Don't
no.
remember the port exactly,
Yeah,
but your traffic
yeah.
will
Three three
be
three three four
routed
two.
through gateway.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
3342. So that is the point. So these 4 points are super important. If you miss any of these points, the problem is you cannot do it from GUI. The first point, it won't allow you to do from anywhere, either GUI or CUI. It is not possible if you miss this DNS part. If you miss this resource group and or if they are in different subscriptions, technically you can do, but not from GUI. And fourth point, it's not possible to create out of error groups with the public endpoint. These 4 points are extremely important, and you have to remember this throughout your journey if you are working with MIs. These 4 points. Okay. So now I think this is getting deployed. So it will take another 3-4 minutes. By that time, it will be finished. So the point here, one more point here is, I wanted to uh, stress on peering. Peering is one more thing that I would like to talk about, because without peering, I cannot create these failover groups and all. So let me show you that part. I'll just increase the size and we'll start. Any questions till now with those 4 points, or what is MI, or general purpose, or business critical, or DNS zone, something, anything before I increase and start this?
Oh, see, why not allowed with public endpoint like MI?
Because
Sorry,
you
failure group.
because you cannot without creating peering, it's not possible. So that is the point. So they have mentioned somewhere here, public endpoint. Yeah. So this is the problem. The read-write listener and the read-only listener cannot be reached via the public endpoint. What is read-write listener and what is read-only listener, that you will come to know shortly. But this is the problem. So these two cannot reach with public endpoint. So that is the reason. That is one more limitation. Okay. So that's the reason I said n number of times to watch that Azure SQL auto failover groups. If you have watched that Azure auto failover groups, this will be an easy session for you, because the only difference is this zone IDs will not be there with Azure SQL, whereas zone IDs will be there with MI. That's the only difference. Rest all remains the same. This read write listener concept, read only listener concept, it is same. So okay, let's wait for it. I think I will start this mission, and I have to talk about pairing as well. Without pairing, I cannot do this. So I also told you about something called as hub and spoke. It might be daunting. Don't get confused. Okay, it might be daunting if you hear hub and spoke and peering and all these networking topics. But if you are familiar with all these topics, you will be, I can say, you will be very well treated by your fellow mates. Okay, but if you don't know this, yes, you can carry out your work, but still, you know that you will not get that upper hand. That is the only difference. So what is that hub and spoke? Again, it is there in my videos. So if you want, I think it is there. It's better if you can watch at least once. Hub and spoke architecture, that is required here. Hub and spoke is required here, but I'm not using that because you guys, definitely you might have not gone through this video. Otherwise, if you watch this video, this is very, very important. I'll tell you why this is important, but this is the video. I just wanted to refer this video. And as I said, Azure Auto Failover Groups is already there. So please do watch that for Azure SQL. Auto Failover Groups. This one. The same topic, the same concept I'm going to use. I used a Java application here. I'm going to use the same Java application for our session also. I think by this time, it's still going on. Probably it will complete in another 2-3 minutes. So let's wait for this machine to get started and we'll connect and I'll do the peering. So what is peering and why I need peering? Let's talk about peering for a second. Why I need peering? You'll get to know once I connected. What is the IP for this? It is still starting. Status unknown. Let me connect to this machine. Still unknown, so just wait for a few more minutes. Still, I need to wait for it. Starting. Just give me a second, guys. I will just come back. Okay, I'm back. So let me see if it gets started. Yeah, it is running now, so I can connect now.
Hello.
Yeah.
That means if you want to configure all auto failure groups means a secondary managed instance should be freshly we need to create, right? Am
Exactly. Exactly. If
What's
there
the
is,
old one? It's not possible.
it's not possible because if you are creating the MI, it means you will be creating that in a different DNS zone. So if you have two different DNS zone numbers, then it is not possible.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so, checking my mails. Okay. Sometimes I don't know why missions take a lot of time. Yeah, finally, we are in. I think Giri, you are the one who raised this question, like how to carry out your DR activity, right? So for you, geo-replication is the best way. I mean to say, sorry, geo-restore from backups.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So let's wait. We'll talk about peering, and this took 15 minutes, I believe, the previous MI, 15 or 10. So we'll see how far it got completed. Just a second, we'll see. It's in creating status. Okay, there will be 6 components. Okay, currently it is in progress with the second step. There are 3 steps, so it is in the second step now. Yeah, now it says it's completed. Can you see this? Deployment succeeded. So let me refresh this. Fresh. Okay. Oh, it's still carrying. Sorry, I got excited. Creation is in progress. Okay. Let's go and let's try to connect to our primary MI and see what happens. I could have finished this deployment before itself, but I didn't do purposefully just to show up that DNS part. Because if I talk verbally, it might not be able, I mean, it will be slightly difficult for you to understand, right? So that is the reason. Fresh, it's still creating. Okay. We'll not wait. We'll just move on. So is it possible to create auto failover groups from portal if my resource groups are different? I mean, MI is sitting in one resource group, primary MI, and secondary MI is sitting in different resource group.
No.
Say answer like no from portal, yes from command line. The same goes with subscription also. Different subscriptions, yes from CUI, no from GUI. So now if I wanted to connect to my MI, it's not possible because I have not carried out peering. So what is that peering and what is that hub and spoke? You will get to know. Let's move on to virtual networks. So can you see this FG primary VNet? This is the one that is containing my primary MI. And second FG VNet. This is the one that contains secondary MI. It's still getting deployed, but it's okay. This is my second MI. And SQLN VNet is my mission, virtual mission. So why I'm using virtual mission to connect? Why I'm using virtual mission? Why should I use virtual mission? Can't I use remote desktop for MI? Okay. Can we use remote desktop to connect to MI? So remember, guys, pass means no operating system. Very simple, as simple as that. Pass means no operating system. So since there is no operating system, I have to choose the one that contains the management studio. So I'm using this mission. Now, if I come over here, I think it is almost done. And if I try to connect to my MI, let me get the MI name. This is the MI. I copy this, and if I try to connect, do you think this will work or not? Let's wait for it. Oh my God. Okay, finally. Take a notepad for my MI names. This is the MI, and I need to copy the password also. Okay. So now let's connect to that MI. So what's your thought on this? Will I be able to connect to my MI from this virtual machine? If I'm not able to, what might be the reason?
I think peering is needed. This virtual machine is in different VNet.
Yeah. So now if you see, by this time it have been done, but it's not happening. That means I have some problem. So whenever you are not able to connect your MI, okay, so there is something called as peering and virtual network gateways and so much stuff. So let's try to demystify them slowly. For the moment, it is not working, right? So what as a DBA will do? What is your first step if you are not able to connect to the MI from your VM? The first and foremost step is, okay, launch your PowerShell and do testnet connectivity. Okay, that is my first step. So sorry, PNC. So this is the name. Copy this name and check that on the port 1433. Do you think it is possible to change the MI port number? No. You cannot change the port number on MI or Azure SQL from 1433. It's by default, you cannot change that. It's not on-prem to change. Okay, so I have to test this from that VM from where I'm trying to connect. If I'm getting results are as true, then it is fine. Um, it will allow you to connect. There is something else that you have to check. But if it is false, then talk to your infra team saying that I'm not able to reach to MI from this VM because I'm seeing TNC, testnet connectivity, as false. So this is the first step. So don't go and try to do this. It will fail. Do you think there is something like starting the instance or stopping the instance here? There is nothing like start stop the instance. Don't get confused with these terms. I'm talking about the general way. Like what I'm talking is, let me connect to my node. Something like this. So come over here and doing start stop the instance. That is not possible with MI. Okay, so I'm not able to connect using my endpoint, VNet endpoint. So what should I do now? The answer is peering. So before I do peering, let me try to connect with my public endpoint. So I think public endpoint will be somewhere here. Networking. I didn't enable public endpoint. I have to enable. Can you see this? This option requires the port 3342 to be opened for inbound traffic. If you don't open this port, it's not possible for you to connect. What is the difference between public endpoint and the VNet endpoint? See the connection strings. Okay, see the connection strings and you will find the difference. Firstly, you have to specify 3342 for your public endpoint. That is the first point. Second point, you need to add this keyword public. Otherwise, it won't allow you to connect. So you have to add the keyword public and you have to have your 3342. And one more thing is, as they are saying, you have to enable this for inbound traffic. Since this is since this is PaaS, right? I don't have operating system. So where can I enable this traffic 3342? Where can I get this network security group? Network security group will be there only for operating system, right? So how to open this port number then? Any idea? Are you getting my point? First of all, they are saying open the port 3342 on NSG for NSG. So let me go and show you up. Cancel. I think first I need to click on save. Click on save. My point is, let me show you that uh, virtual machine. Uh, this is my virtual machine. So for virtual machine, I have something called as inbound rules and outbound rules. I think I got the problem. Let me switch the internet. Sometimes my internet won't work as expected, so just give me a second. Okay, I got this, but anyways, it's better to go with different network. Okay, fine. So now if I go to networking, under the network settings, there is something called as inbound rules and outbound rules, and those kind of stuff is there. But my point here is, can you see this? Inbound rules, NSG. NSG is nothing but network security group. Network security group will be there only for virtual machines. But on the MI, they are saying you need to add that 3342 as part of NSG. So my point is, where can I get NSG for MI? Can I get NSG for MI? If anyone knows. If I go there, okay, if I go here, there is something called as virtual network or subnet. Can you see this for Azure SQLs? Virtual network or subnet. Do you think Azure SQL supports subnets and virtual networks?
No, Vamsi.
No, that is the difference between MI and Azure SQL. For Azure SQL, you won't get dedicated virtual network. It's not possible. But for MI, it is possible. You will get virtual network and you will get route table. You will get NSG also. So if I go to my MI, okay, I'm showing it again. I'm clicking on MI. And if I go to virtual network, click on that virtual network. And if I go to subnets, there is something called a security group. So this is the NSG what they are talking about. And they are saying to add 3342 here. For inbound security rules, you need to add 3342. Otherwise, you will not be able to connect. Let me show you without adding. So I'm trying to reach with the public endpoint for MI without creating that NSG rule. So it won't allow me to do that. Just give me a second. Connect NSG SQL authentication. Connect. So it won't connect. By this time, usually if everything is fine, it will have been connected, but that is not the case. So something went wrong. That something is nothing but we have not added the port 3342. We need to add that 3342. So now I will come over here, inbound rules. I need to create a new inbound rule called as 3342. So where can I create new inbound rule here? Settings. Yes, you need to click on settings. Okay. And there is something called as inbound rule and outbound rules. So click on add. And that should be source any, port ranges any. So that is nothing but 3342. That is the port number. And the priority is something I'm giving as 110. Source any, destination any, service. Okay. And click on add. Okay, now I added that 3342. Let's try to connect. It failed, but now let's try. Yeah, see, it got completed now. So without adding the 3342, you cannot connect with public endpoints. Now I need to connect with this one. This is not possible until I carry out peering. Why I need peering here? When should I do peering? Very simple. If your VNets are in, if your resources are in different VNets, then to talk from one VNet to another VNet, we need peering in simple terms. But to make you understand easily, so just imagine our country, India. So if I wanted to travel from one state to another state, do I need visa? No. But if I wanted to travel to another country, I need visa, right? So same goes here. So communication between the subnets is possible without any extra setup. But if you wanted to go and talk from one VNet to another VNet, you need to have that visa. That visa entry is nothing but peering. So you need to peer your networks for them to talk. So SQL N1 VNet need to talk to my primary instance, right? So I have to choose SQL N1 VNet and I have to create peering. So this is older ones, so I will delete them. So just delete. I'll create the fresh one for you. I'm suspecting something may grow wrong here. By this time, it should have been finished, but still it is taking time. I don't know why sometimes it is creating very fastly, sometimes it is not able to create. Only God knows. So let's wait. Let's try to create that link. So we are trying to reach from VM, right? VM to primary MI, FG primary MI, failover group primary MI, and choose that MI network. So this is the one. And the same goes here. So I can say the opposite way, FG primary MI to VM. Add. So it will, okay, what happened? A retriable error occurred. Okay, added. It says added. Let's check this. Let's check the other part. We'll get many errors. This is not that easy. Let's wait. Hearing. Okay. It is saying something, right? So let's try to delete this one. It's not created properly. Remote sync required means this guy is not able to talk to SQL VNet. So this is the remote SQL VNet. So this is my primary. So I wanted to fly from India to US. Just imagine SQL N1 VNet as USA and MI as my India. So I'm not able to talk now because of some reason. So let's try to delete and reconfigure it again. Saying about permissions, it's talking about something about permissions, but I don't think so because I am the admin for this entire portal. So no point of talking about permissions. Just wait for it to get deleted and we'll see. Okay, it's gone. And let's try to add now. VM2 MI primary. So this is the one. If I choose the same one, it says select a different virtual network. A virtual network cannot be paired with itself. So you cannot pair your net VNet to the same VNet. You have to choose different VNet. So my VNet is SQLN VNet 1. So I will say the opposite part. So I'll just say test MI2, something like this at the moment because I just wanted to see the results. Let's see. Now it is fully synchronized. So now if I connect to my uh, MI, you can connect to your MI from your virtual machine without using the public endpoint. So if I click on connect, so that's it. We are done. So what I'm saying is the start stop. So if I click on MI, so there is nothing like start stop here. On you will get it for VMs, but not for MI or Azure SQL. Can you hear me, guys? Hello?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Vamsi.
I thought I lost the network. So this is there, but if I click on MI, there is nothing like start, stop, pass, resume, restart, nothing is there. You cannot do start, stop of MIs from SSMS or from, if I say from SSMS, technically there is no OS, right? So you cannot connect to that operating system to do start stop of our SQL services. So let's wait for it. I don't know why it is taking a lot of time. Where are we? Are we at still the second step, or by this time it will get finished? Any questions till this point? Okay, it's completed. At least second step got completed. So SQL instance startup. So we just need to wait for this. Yeah, I'm asking for one last time. Any questions till now? Like peering, public endpoint, um, that 4 points what we discussed, resource group, subscription, about these 4 points. If no questions, then I think better if I stop here, because this step, I don't know how much time will it take. I'm not sure. Once this gets created, I will continue. What will you say? In progress. In progress. So last step, it may take time. Sure. If you are in the same VPC as MI, and MI is enabled for Azure resource, you should be able to connect. Otherwise, you need pairing between. So he's talking about the VPC because he's coming from AWS background. In AWS, we call them as VPCs, virtual private clouds. But on Azure, we call them as virtual private networks, VPN. Sorry. Virtual networks, not VPN. Sorry. So I have done the peering now. So before I stop, so now I have to peer this one with this and with the primary MI and again with secondary MI, right? So do you think that is enough, or do you need to pair again between two MIs? Okay, I will explain this with a diagram. Two MIs needed. Let's understand that topic for a second. That is why I said hub and spoke architecture. Okay, so I have three networks now. One is MI primary VNet. The other one is MI secondary VNet. And the other one is VM VNet. If I wanted to talk from from VM to MI, I need peering between these two. So which is what we just carried out. This is done. Okay. And now I have to create one more um, uh, peering from VNet to MI secondary if I wanted to talk. But my question is, do I need peering between this and this? So let's imagine I have one more MI and one more MI here. Then do I need to peer all of them? Like the architecture gets very complicated, right? If I try to peer each and every VNets, so it goes beyond our imagination. So what should I do now to avoid this? Like doing multiple peerings is not the right solution, right? So as a virtual network engineer or network guy, what they will do? Any idea from your side? Anyone knows, or should I go ahead? Okay, I will explain that.
Hello, and why we need to peering between the MI secondary and primary? Because they are in the same DNS zone.
DNS zone is different, VNet is different.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So let's try to add few more complication here. So the first point is, should I pair this and this? That is the first question. Second thing is, let's say for example, I have multiple. Let's say I have multiple MIs here. Okay. So now I need to pair this, I need to pair this. And how about interconnecting? If I wanted to connect between all the MIs, should I pair between this and this and this and this and this? So just imagine. So this like what should I say? 8 connections, right? 8 peering. So I have to pair between these two and two. And again, I need to pair between this and this. And again, I need to do peering between this and this. So it goes on, right? So do you think this is the right architecture? Do you think network guys will do peering across all the different MIs or different VNets? Are you getting my point? No, not transit gateways. It's kind of, I cannot say no. So that is why I said there is something called as hub and spoke architecture, which you have to understand. Okay, my FG demo got completed, luckily. Okay, my second MI is ready, so we can start. So please do watch hub and spoke architecture. It's very important if you wanted to understand from networking standpoints. Of course, if you are guys are not focused on networking, you can leave it. But as I said, if you want that upper hand with the different technologies, you better watch that hub and spoke architecture. So now let's connect to my secondary VNet. So this is the one. This is my secondary MI. So if I wanted to connect, I have to do peering first. So let me click on peering and click on add. I'll just give some dummy name. So please ignore that. I don't have time. So I'll say I need to connect to this. Okay. And I will say 1, 2, 3 demo. Add. Let them get peered and then we'll be able to connect to our secondary MI. Yeah, it's connected. So now let's go to our MI and let's try to connect. So this is the secondary MI. Let me copy this. Okay, so let's try to connect to this. I'll remove this public endpoint. That's what is here. Yeah, there you go. Since we paired, no point of disconnecting or not able to connect. So we are able to connect to primary and secondary. We are done now. So now we have to create auto failover groups. Any questions before I go on with auto failover groups? Do you think it will allow me to create auto failover groups? Let's give it a try. Let's try to create one database first, and then we'll start. For auto failover groups, let me create a dummy database. Okay, so I just created one dummy database. So I just need to have one table because I created one application, Java application. So I'll try to get the table and we'll start. I think this is the one. You can ignore all this stuff. I'm just creating one table. For that table, I need this these steps. So I'm just doing that. Just give me a second. We are done. Okay, so I have to create this table inside demo DB, and then we need to run this. So before I do, I just need to create that sales LT schema. So let me create that as well. Create schema. What is that schema name? Sales LT. Okay, okay, okay. We can ignore the errors. You don't need to worry about that part. So I'm just creating one table. Okay, this is my table. This is called as sales LT dot product. Currently, I don't have any rows. Select star from sales LT product. Nothing is there. So now I'm going to show you a Java application, and then I will show you how it works and all. Let me connect to my Java application for the moment. So okay. So this is demo DB. That's it. I need to change the failover group. So let's try to create the failover group and we'll start our session. I mean, the important thing. So FG primary MI. So where can I create these failover groups? Which option? So under database management, there is something called as failover groups. Click on that failover groups and now you have to choose that group. This is the failover group name. What is this failover group name? I will talk about that. So I'll say demo failover group. Okay. Can you see this 20CF2? Can you see this 20CF25 something something? And if you see my manage instances, let me show you my manage instances. Both of them are having the same uh, DNS suffix. Can you see this 20CF CF52? Same thing here. So even for failover group, when you are creating the instance failover group, so I'm getting the same naming convention 20CF2. Okay, so that is the reason this is very, very important step. The first step what we carried out. And what is this failover group name? Why should I give this failover group name? What is this? This is nothing but something very similar to our always on listener name. Okay, so this failover group name is nothing but our always on listener name. So I have two managed instances, right? So one is FG primary MI, and the other one is FG secondary MI. So for the application, which connection string should I make use of? I mean, in the connection strings, which one should I pass? Should I pass FG primary MI or should I pass FG secondary MI? Right? The same goes with always on also. For listener, we won't give node 1 or node 2 or replica 1 or replica 2. We will create a separate name for listener, and for the end users or for the developers, we will give that listener name, right? In the similar fashion, when you are creating auto failover groups, you have to pass the name of your failover group name. So this is the one that they will make use of. This is the name that they will make use of when they are connecting from application. So this is very, very important that you have to understand. Failover group name is nothing but something similar to our listener name. That is so this is the name as a DBA you should pass to your developers, not a primary MI, not secondary MI. You have to give this name, demo failover group. Of course, something what your application needs. So this is the name that you should pass to your developers. Very, very, very important step. I have to choose the secondary. So that's it. So once you choose, we are done with these steps. So failure policy and the grace period, we'll talk about that later. Um, so I'm clicking on create. Any questions here? This is the only important thing. What is this name? This name is something very, 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 very similar to our listener name. So this is the name that I should pass to my developers. So I'm acting like a developer now. So let's see what happens once it gets created. I didn't create peering between the two MIs. Watch that carefully. I didn't peer FG primary MI and FG secondary MI. If you want, I can show that up as well. So if I go to my virtual networks, so if you see the FG primary VNet, okay, if I go to the peerings, I have peering with only SQL mission, means virtual mission, not with that MI, secondary MI. I don't have peering. The same goes with the secondary MI also. Let me show up that. Same thing. I didn't do peering between primary MI and secondary MI. So do you think our auto failover group will get created or not? Let's see that. And let's go to that instance, my instance. Failover groups. So it is trying to create. Currently, I couldn't see anything. There is no failure group. That's what I can see. So let's wait for the error, or will it allow us? Let's see that for a second. Usually, this won't take that much time because it's just one database with no records, only one table, right? So by this time, it should have been finished, but let's wait. Everything will take time here, guys. So that is the main challenge. MI creation, MI deletion, it's always a challenge. Much time. Let's check the counterpart. Nothing is happening. No, I couldn't see anything. So I'm getting the problem now. Without that peering between these two MIs, I don't think it will allow us to create, but I'm just waiting for that error. Will it throw error or will it not allow us to do? That is what I just wanted to see. Let's try to create. I don't want to waste our time. So virtual network, peering. See, it failed. It failed. Luckily, it failed. So now as a DBA, what will you do now? So it's all from DBA stuff that we need to troubleshoot, right? So this is the error what we got. Failover group creation failed because the primary server's replication traffic cannot reach the secondary server. Please verify the connectivity between the VNets of primary and secondary managed servers. So it is complaining that I cannot talk from this network. Let me go to the network. From this network to this network. It's not possible for me to talk between these two networks. So please do peering. So that is what I said. If I have multiple MIs, multiple managed instances, then just imagine that I wanted to peer each and everything, right? So it's not possible. Technically, you can't peer each and every VNet. So it goes crazily. The architecture it itself becomes cumbersome. So instead of that, what you will do is you will create there is something called as hub and spokes. Okay, hub and spokes. Spokes are like child, hub is like parent. So if anyone wants to talk from this spoke to this spoke, they won't talk directly. They will talk to this mission, which is hub, and this mission will talk on behalf of this spoke to from on behalf of this spoke. That is called as hub and spoke. So instead of creating these many VNets, okay, I repeat my statement. Instead of creating these many peerings, what I will do is I will create one VNet as I will create, or I will just convert one VNet as hub, and I will convert every other as spokes, so that I don't need to peer between the spokes. So I create peering only between hub and spokes. I don't create peering between spokes and spokes. Means this MI and this MI. These two are like spokes now. So I don't need to create peering between these two. If I go with this kind of architecture, hub and spoke architecture, which it's already there, I cannot repeat that. For the moment, I'm going to create connectivity between this MI and this MI. But in real time, you won't see kind of architecture what I am talking about. So I'm acting like virtual, sorry, what can I say? Network engineer, developer, DBA, everything. So please do adjust. So let me go and let me try to create the peering. Click on add. So I will say MI to MI, MI to, oh, sorry, MI to MI. So I am on FG primary. So I have to choose secondary VNet. So this one I will say MI to MI secondary. And click on add. So once peering in place, then it will allow you to create that failover groups. I don't know how many of you are watching or getting, but these concepts are very high level. And you won't get anywhere. For sure, I can say this. Okay, let me go to manage instances. And now I should create failover group. So now it will allow me to create. So if I go here, so this is what I'm saying, guys. So if I click on add, the secondary name will not get populated if my resources are in different resource group or if they are in different subscriptions. So from GUI, you cannot create that. From GUI, if you are doing, you have to ensure that they are in only one subscription and one resource group. So say demo FG. This is listener name. Okay, choose this one. I'll just change the name demo FG. Demo test, I'll say. Test failure group. And click on create. So now it will get created fastly because we have that network connectivity, right? So it will be done now. MFG. What is the name I have given? I have to wait for it to populate it because I don't know the name what I have given. Just wait for it.
It's a demo test.
FG. Okay, so let me change this. Demo test FG. So this is listener name, guys. So now, okay, you are the DBA and you have configured auto failure groups. Now I am coming as a developer and I'm asking you to share the credentials. When I say share the credentials are nothing but connection strings. I should say connection strings. I'm asking for you for the connection string. So will you give primary instance connection string or will you give secondary managed instance connection string? Which one will you give? For primary, I have something like FG primary MI, and for secondary, I have FG secondary MI. So which one will you give as a DBA to the developer? So yeah, so can you see this? So this is the one I should give for the developers, not primary MI, not secondary MI. Okay, it should not be primary or secondary. So once you give this name, demo test FG, so I will use this name and I will connect from the application. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm connecting from the application using demo test FG. So let me save this application. This is a simple Java application. If you want, you can create this as well. I'm just showing you that how I created. So this is the Microsoft page where they build Java application to show up this example, like what I'm showing. So these are the commands. So if you run these commands, it will create you that Java application, but you will get some errors for sure because you need that JDK. if you are anyone is from Java background, they do know what is JDK, Java Development Kit. That should be there. And there is something called as Maven, or Maven. I don't know how to spell it. So that should be also there. So Maven project and JDK should be there if you wanted to practice what I am showing. This is the Java application. So let's wait for it. I think if it is done, then we can proceed. Yeah, group is created. So now if you see, refresh. So if I go to my failover group, so this is the read write listener endpoint, and this is read only listener endpoint. We'll understand what is read write and read only. Let me go and start my application. I wonder if this works because I tested this on Friday and after that I didn't check. Let me change the connection strings properly. So what is the DNS suffix what I got here? 2CFC something, right? So I have to get that name. So this is the one, 205C. Copy this. And I have to paste it here. Better I will say Control H. Control F. Control H, right? Replace all. Okay, so this is the one. And read only is okay to 0. I think this is okay. Let's try to give it a shot. So, just give me a second, guys. I need to get the commands. Package. Yeah, this is the Java software. I mean to say the Java application is here. So I have to go here and I have to point out to this location, CD SQL DB sample. And then I have to say, forget about this. I'm just a developer. I will reach out to you. I'm just treating myself as a developer and I'll show you how the application works from development standpoint with respect to the connectivity like read, write, and read only. What is that? Everything you'll get to know shortly. Okay. I think this is fine. SQL DB samples app. Oh my God. SQL DB samples. Any errors in this demo test FG? Okay, demo DB, OMC, password, DNS secondary, everything looks fine. If I get this error, this is very difficult to troubleshoot. Let's see what is that. The parameters for the main class are invalid. This is running only, right? Yeah. SQL com.sqldb samples.app. Try one more time. If I get this error, it will take a lot of time, guys. It's better to show up manually rather than this. If this comes up, this will give you additional advantage, like what is that read-only endpoint and what is that read-write endpoint. It's very difficult to, sorry, it will simplify our things. But to troubleshoot this error, it will take a lot of time. It took almost 3 hours for me to troubleshoot on that day. I think it should work, right? I didn't make any changes. SQL. Everything is there. I can't show it up now. Okay, let's do manually. Let's try to understand this. Okay. Um, then what is the main point here? So let's disconnect this. So I will take one simple example. So I created the database on primary. I didn't create this on secondary. But if you see here, automatically I got that demo DB and I created just one table and I will get that table automatically. So this table insertion should have happened from the Java application, but I don't know like why I got that error again. It will take a lot of time, right? It will waste our time. So I'll see that later. So now let's try to create one more table on primary and let's try to insert, let's see if that gets replicated. It will be a simple table, create table, test, serial number, int. Okay, I created this on primary, okay, FG primary MI. So now I didn't create this on secondary MI. So let's refresh this. Can you see here query store also it's in read only state, which means this is secondary MI. Okay, but let's see the tables first. See, I got the test automatically. I didn't create that on secondary. Let's try to insert few rows. I'll just try to insert 10 rows possibly. A simple loop just to populate the data. Insert table name test. Okay, now I can see 10 rows on primary. Select star from test. So I got 10 rows. Now if I try to connect, I will not even connect. I'll just say top 10 rows. See, I got the 10 rows on secondary automatically. But as I said, you will not be connecting using this primary or secondary. You will not use the instance names. You will use the failover group name. So let's try to connect with that failover group name. Let me connect to that failover group. So this is the name that we should make use of. So this is primary replica. This is secondary replica. If you see the difference here, there is something called as secondary in case of read-only listener, which is not there with read-write listener. So I will copy both the names and I'll show you. Okay, and now let me copy this. So I am connecting to my primary replica and secondary replica. So if I try to create a table here, okay, let's try to create that table. So demo DB, right? So let's, if I try and right click and try to create something, it will throw error because that is read-only endpoint. So create table test to serial number int. See, the database is in read-only state. Do you think database is read-only state? It will not show you guys. It will appear as if it is online, but in reality, this is in read-only state. So how to check that status? There is something called as database updatability something. There is a feature that will help you to disclose that. What is that? Database property, sorry, database property ex. Something like updatability. Let me check that. I don't remember that. Database. Updatable status or something is there. Hmm. Yeah, updatability. So this will help you to find uh, what is the right way. So let me go. What is the database name? DemoDB. See, this is read only. So if I connect to that secondary failover group name dot secondary dot something, then you will see read only. If I connect this to my primary instance, so which is nothing but this one, if I fire the same thing, you will get read write. So that is the difference. So this endpoint is primary read write endpoint. This endpoint with dot secondary, this is read only endpoint. You can only read the data from here, whereas here you can read and write the data. So just like our always on replicas, but the only difference is here the database will not appear something like read only or synchronized or something like that. It will appear just like on online database. But if you wanted to really check whether it is read write or read only, you have to use this property, database name followed by updatability, using this function. Then you will get to know what is read write and read only. If this application works, it would have been superb, but unfortunately, I got some errors. I need to troubleshoot this. I will check that later. Any questions till this point? I'm done. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'll work this application later and I'll show that later. I know I have not I have not shown the failover like from primary to secondary. We can do forced failover and failover. So once my Java application works, then it's better to show this up because that gives you an additional advantage. Oops. Any questions? I hope. I am not sure because this is working time for many of you. So it's very difficult to follow, but I will upload the session. If you have any questions, let me know. Is this okay? Yeah, no problem. So I'm stopping, but I'll work on that Java application and then I will show this failover and forced failover and how it works. And I'll try to do few more scenarios as well, just to make things interesting. Okay, then thanks for your time. I will catch you some other time.
Thank you, Vamsi. Bye.
Yeah, bye.